Hey, how you doing? It's Coach Will Lane, and this is a great day for you to be great. Why? Today is day one of our forgiveness challenge, 21-day journey for a lifestyle of forgiveness. So if you're ready to live resentment free, to get rid of that bitterness and all that old baggage that we've been carrying around for years and years, unforgiveness that we've been dragging around like an anchor, if you're ready to let that go, I'm definitely ready. So let's go. So let's start by talking about what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness is not a feeling or an emotion. What does that mean? That means it doesn't matter how you feel about a situation. It doesn't matter the emotional experience you're having. Forgiveness is not bound to your feelings. Why? Because forgiveness is not an emotion. Forgiveness is a state. Forgiveness is a state of being. We are either forgiving people, forgiving individuals, or we are unforgiving individuals. It's like my light switches and like the light switches you have in your home. It's either on or off. And I know that you have some dimmers, but even if you're going through the spectrum of the degree of illumination, when it's off, it's off. And once it gets on to even the lowest degree of light, it's considered on. So forgiveness is a state. And we want to be people who are forgiving, period. And that's what this challenge is all about, developing and cultivating a lifestyle of forgiveness because of all of the benefits. What is unforgiveness? Let's talk about that. Unforgiveness is the state of being resentful, having resentment, harboring bad feelings about a person or a situation, harboring bitterness, holding on to bad feelings about a person or about a situation. Those are indications that you are in the state of unforgiveness. And an important element that we need to understand is that nothing in our lives happens from the outside in. We are designed for every experience in our life, every personal, individual experience to happen from the inside out. What does that mean? That means that no matter what the situation is, and there are some horrific situations that we have all encountered on different degrees, different levels, we won't dare to compare any of them. But the state of forgiveness or unforgiveness is always and will always be your choice. We either take offense to something that happens or we forgive. So unforgiveness is a result of something that happens in our life with a person, a situation that the experience we choose, because of the experience, we choose to take offense. That's a very important element. And let me just say this as a disclaimer. As a coach, as your friend, as your brother, one thing that I will never ever do, I will hold myself to the standard and I will not allow you to do, and that is blame. And I understand, I can hear you. I understand that when such traumatic experiences happen, we are often conditioned to look at the experience on the outside and blame the experience. I'm not denying that the experience made an impact. However, we have to understand what is truth. The truth is we always have a choice to whether we take offense or we choose to forgive. And that's what this journey is all about. And I know, it's going to require us to change some things, change some thoughts, some mindsets, change some perspectives, and for some of us even change our worldview, because forgiveness and unforgiveness has a lot to do with our worldview. It has a lot to do with our conditioning as we were growing up, how we should interpret and the meanings we should attach, the meaning we attach to a situation that happens in our life. All of that plays a part. But in order to have change, we must change. And really briefly, I want to share with you how I learned about change from my coach. I believe every coach should have a coach. My coach is Dr. James D. Treadwell Jr. And about over 20 years ago, he taught me about change. And more than ever in my life, I understand what he taught me. I asked him, why does it take so long for some people to change? And his answer to me was, well, it's not that it takes long for people to change. People can change in a heartbeat. They can change in an instant. What takes long is for an individual to make up their mind to change or to decide that they want to exchange a perspective for a different perspective. That takes time for some people, and it appears that change takes a long time. But the reality is, once you make up your mind to change one perspective for another and practice that perspective, you become a changed individual. So that's our desire. That's our expected outcome of this forgiveness challenge. Are you down? I'm down. Let's get this. All right, all right. So let's get down to our assignments. So throughout week one, our focus and our emphasis is going to be on self-reflection for the purpose of understanding. So I want you to reflect on what you're seeing, what you're hearing, and the experiences you're having. All right. How does that work? I'm glad you asked. So I want you to pay attention to rumination. What is rumination? Rumination is the psychological phenomena when you just have continuous, repetitive thoughts where you're chewing and like a cow that chews up the grass and then they vomit it out and then they chew it up again. They continue to chew on the same thing so that they can properly digest it. That happens to us subconsciously. Where, you might ask? Here you go. You might experience it as shower ruminations, I call it, where you're in a shower, and while you're in the shower getting ready for your day or getting ready for work, you are literally having a conversation with a person that you haven't talked to in 20 years. You are having a conversation and you're saying to yourself, well, if they say this, I'll say that. Or if this happens, then I'll do this. You're literally having a whole dialogue with a person who is not there. That's rumination, and that is a sign that you need to forgive someone. Ruminations could be your car. You're on your way to work or on the way to the store, and you are literally having a conversation with someone. Someone cuts you off on the road, and now 10 minutes later, you're driving and still reflecting on what you could have done, what you should have done, why they do this, how dumb that was, how stupid they are, what kind of person are they. We're thinking of these things and also having inner dialogue with the person, arguments with the person who is not even present. That's rumination. So we want to pay attention to rumination. And when you find it, when you realize it, capture it. When you realize those ruminating thoughts, capture them. And in that moment, I want you to now bring it to the realization of, hey, should I be holding on to this? How do I feel when I'm thinking these thoughts? Are these beneficial for me or are they detrimental to me? So that's our first step of practice. Capture thoughts. Capture the rumination. Capture those thoughts that you ponder that are characterized by resentment, bitterness, anger, mistreatment, someone taking advantage of you. They saw you going into a parking space and they pulled in before you. And now you're going throughout the supermarket fussing, or some of you maybe even hoping that you can confront them in the store. Oh, that's the state of unforgiveness. And that's what we're ridding ourselves of. All right? So assignment number one, capture thoughts. Focus on those thoughts, those feelings, those inner dialogues and inner conversations that are a result of you taking offense to something that someone did today, yesterday, 20 years ago, or you are even imagining that someone's going to do tomorrow when you get to work. All right? I want you to capture those thoughts, jot them down, pay close attention to them, and do not justify them. Do not take yourself off of the hook by blaming the person, by saying, oh, they're so stupid, they're unthoughtful, they're this, they're that. No judgment. This challenge is about us. We're working on our own minds, our emotions, our wills, our souls. We're working on ourselves, because when we do this self-work, ourselves and everyone else that we touch are better for it. So that's day number one, your assignment. Capture those ruminating thoughts, all right? And for tomorrow, day two, Whatever comments you leave on YouTube, Instagram, I'm going to read your comments. And when I begin day two's video, I'm going to reflect on some of your questions, your comments. I'll reflect on them prior in the beginning of the video, just so that we can keep the community thriving and keep the community excited and on this journey. All right? We got this. And remember, share this with somebody, because we don't want to be healed and freed all by ourselves, do we? No. Come on, share the love. It's Coach Will Lane, day number 1 of our forgiveness challenge. We got this. Let's get it.